Literally papered over the cracks. It's one of those houses where you're like, what we're going to find. I'm Victoria. I am a shoe designer. The house was a complete wreck, basically. A renovation job from top to bottom.
I found myself in Haringey, and for good reason. As an architect, I'd usually say strip it back, push out the kitchen, add some skylights, but Victoria didn't do any of that. And that's why I'm here.
We gotta stop filming these on such hot days. Let's head back here later for a cold one.
Well, and maybe that too. The house hadn't really been touched for a long
I
time.
think the same family owned it from 1935 and it had never really been changed.
And I know we all want more space, but what do you need to focus on when you're in the thick of it? Trying to retain the character and having to make surprise budget decisions.
All the way along, it's like, do I not do that? Or so I have pushed the budget more than I thought I would.
So I'm asking, what can Victoria do with a space that's already there and make every pound stretch? So we did nothing. Well, sort of. I'm Ollie, an architect born and bred in the Northeast. Give me a great design, a decent local, and a high street with a bit of history. I'm happy. After years of designing homes, there's one thing I want to unpack. What goes into making a house your own? So Resi said, go on then. Out of office on, across the UK I go, meeting the people who've taken unfamiliar walls and turned them into something that finally feels like home. Turns out, it always starts with a change of plans.
To live in a project of this size, I would never do again. There is definitely a limit to how much dust one can endure.
A lot of dust across 3 stories. Down on the ground floor, Victoria told me why she'd almost done exactly what I thought she would, add more space.
This was a tiny door there. The kitchen was like 2 separate rooms. I initially had the idea to extend out this way, which we did the plans and we did the planning permission.
See a big restriction with that height change as well.
Yeah, because there's just such a drop.
But you're basically doing a 2-story extension.
Yeah, it would have been really expensive and I just didn't have the budget for that.
Fair enough. So how did she go from this to this?
We put in this big bifold door. I quite like modern, simple, because I travel quite a lot for work. I definitely get a lot of ideas from where I go. A bit of Portugal, Japan, Copenhagen and stuff, so.
I think you can see that in the exposed timber joists as well that run through. And the colour of the joists as well, there's a bit of a theme running through the house.
Yeah, it's actually like the same colour that I've got in a lot of places. Yeah, there's a palette. I was quite inspired by the hallway because it's got that lovely Victorian tile work and a lot of the colours are in the paintwork or around the house. I sort of think that the house needed it somehow. But yeah, here was kind of just big step down and I was like, whilst the builders are here, I'm just gonna dig deep and get this done.
And you kind of don't need to extend because in a way you've extended already and this is now an outdoor-indoor living space.
Yeah.
The bifolds and deck are a clever way to make the house feel extended, even without adding space. But that's only half the trick. What about the layout inside?
I kind of put in this L-shaped kitchen as well, which I really like. I had it in my old house as well, facing out to the garden when you're washing up, because that's basically where you spend quite a lot of time in the kitchen, and I love it.
How much time do you spend on this?
Quite a lot. It almost feels like you're slightly outside in a way.
Knocking through that wall for an L-shaped countertop made the space feel open whilst keeping areas distinct. The kitchen obviously had a glow up, but not in the 1930s style. Would you be able to talk us through the terrazzo?
Yeah, it's actually porcelain, because there's underfloor heating here. Real terrazzo is actually not so good with underfloor heating. It's a lot thicker. This one I just fell in love with actually, and it's kind of got all the colours again of like the house, like the olive. It's got slightly sort of rusty colour. And I also kind of really wanted a wooden kitchen.
Between the kitchen finishes, textured wood and the painted steel beam, it feels modern. Yet Victoria kept the original bay window where most people would see that as prime real estate for a side extension. So I hold on to it.
I really would never have wanted to get rid of the box sash windows. I love them. It's nice to sit here. This is my seat, so I always have that. It would be a shame to get rid of it and to do the side return.
This is the area where you have the least amount of lights. And that's why a lot of people do side infloor extensions. But actually just this bay window alone is bringing in so much natural light into this space.
This house has got a lot of character. You'll see as we walk around it.
So we head to the living room, but on the way I see that infamous colour palette. These must be the original tiles.
Yeah, they are.
They're beautiful.
I love them. And yeah, this is kind of, as you can see, the colour. So this is the same colour I've got on the beams and in the windows in the kitchen. This was here, this old-fashioned anaglypta wallpaper and the dado, but I kept that and I'm really glad, yeah.
Is this the original colour as well, or is this painted?
No, painted, yeah.
Like it feels like it's somebody living in the home at some point in the last 100 years would have had this style.
Yeah, I think as well the stained glass window has got a lot of the colours, so it's kind of the yellow and the blue, which I've got in the living room. And so some people say it looks a little bit like a pub, But not sure that was the look I was going for.
That's people that spend more time in pubs than they probably should have.
This actually, there's a couple of these like curved walls in the house, which again you see when we go up to the bathroom. We put this sort of curved wall in because I love that.
You know, starting with blank walls is tough, but it can be an empty canvas. And in the living room, I'm starting to see why.
Kind of took all the chipboard wallpaper off. You know, I was always going to paint it or plaster it or something, but I've kept it in some places as it was, and I kind of love it. It's like
exposed plaster looks
fantastic. Yeah, I just sort of love the texture. You know, a lot of people hate it. My mum is one. She's like, when are you going to paint that? But
I think it looks like marble.
It kind of looks like marble. Yeah, exactly. I sort of love that there's like this sort of green like lines, and there's the layers of like what they've done to it. I love all that. So yeah, I think with this house, I just wanted to kind of lean in a little bit more to the history, and obviously the ceiling was as it was, but just all the wallpaper peeling off, literally peeling off. I had to replace the windows here. I pushed the boat out here and got just the actual internal part of the window replaced and everything else repaired.
This isn't the biggest room either, but having such tall windows makes this space feel so open.
Yeah,
the doors are very bold. What made you go with the blue?
Yes, the blue. Again, I think the tiles have got that colour, the blue, and that's like my favourite picture in the house. So sort of putting the two together. I really use those in the winter. I keep them open in the summer, but in the winter it's like really nice to have a little cosy room. It's interesting how, depending on the seasons, how you use a space, and quite handy if, for instance, I'm working there and people are in here. All these sofas can move around to become a bed.
Don't fix what ain't broke. The original blue doors do a perfect job of creating a multifunctional space, but some things are broke and you do gotta fix them.
You know, when you first look at a house, you're like rose-tinted spectacles. Oh, it's not that bad. There's not lots to do. How ridiculous, you know, and then you move in and it's like, oh no. And then the budget kind of, I hadn't budgeted for the windows really. I just thought they could be painted. It's one of those, I'm very much like, either we do it not that well or we do it properly.
Otherwise you're no better than the people that paper over the cracks.
Yeah, well this is it.
The living room still had some life left in it, but upstairs, the master bedroom was redesigned to add in an ensuite. Much like the Scandi Japanese kitchen, which country did Victoria travel to for inspo?
This was what you guys kind of helped me design. It was the last one I did, so the budget was slightly tighter. The curved wall in the hallway kind of inspired this particular curve. Put in a window on that side. Just having that bit of light coming through, it's enough.
The pocket door to the ensuite as well allows for that space to feel just so much more open.
Yeah, it's plenty big enough. I knew I wanted a desk here, so it gives you more space that way. And the shower's kind of slotted beside the chimney breast, essentially. That was quite a lot of work for the plumber. It goes underneath all the floorboards. You know, you don't look at the hidden costs, and it's always the things that go underneath the floor.
Design-wise, you can make an assumption on what you can do as well, and then when you start to open these things up on site, you kind of have to take it as you go.
Yeah. I've just kind of painted it quite a warm colour again. But I also kind of wanted it to feel like the warmest bathroom, like a bit Moroccan.
We've got Morocco, we've got Japan, we've got Denmark.
Yeah, exactly.
The bedroom lost floor space but gained a bathroom, and with a simple curved wall to counter the squeeze. And finally, to our last stop, where the renovation started. So this is the kitchenette that you built when you were living in the top floor while the renovations were going on downstairs.
Exactly. So this was where we started the project. So in this bedroom, the footprint's the same, but the ceiling was low. Took it right up.
It's so dramatic, the ceiling.
Yeah, I think just taking the ceiling off, it's almost like doing a loft conversion. You've got your kitchen, on the other side is the bathroom. At the bathrooms, it's great, it's very functional. You've got the kind of terrazzo floor again. And this has another really amazing view of Ali Pali. So this bed goes up into the wall.
Do we keep those pillars on, or?
It's like a Murphy bed, so that this space can be used. I wanted it not to just be a bedroom. Put a yoga mat here, or sometimes I like bring a desk up here and work from here. It was quite a lot of expense, but then again, worth it, I think. And it's really handy for when people come to stay. This is the most modern room in the house, I'd say, or most sort of departure from a Victorian house.
Every home has its own character, and the key is finding that, then blending it with your own. Two personalities becoming one. So perhaps the question isn't how much of the original home you keep, but how you can meet it halfway. It was time for me to head, but after a quick pastry stop.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
As I mosey down to the local I spotted,
Told you we'd be back.
the motif of Victoria's house stuck with me. Same footprint, more function. A theme set out by the very first big decision she had to make, not extending. It became the mindset for the whole renovation, focusing the budget on what is already there, gave Victoria the home she wanted without spending needless pennies.